right. Excellent. Welcome back. Welcome to Adobe Max. I am your host this hour, Talin Wadsworth, and I'm the lead designer for Adobe XD, but let me just get that out of the way and here introduce Daniel White, aka Dansky.
Dansky, yeah.
Excellent. Welcome.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here.
No, it's great to have you.
First time at Max.
First time at Max?
Yeah.
Excellent. What are you thinking so far?
It's just mind-blowing. The keynote this morning, just...
So much good stuff in that keynote, man.
Yeah. Very good.
Definitely one announcement very dear to my heart. But yeah, lots of cool stuff happening. So, all right, man, welcome. You first time in Vegas too?
First time in Vegas.
All right.
I'm doing well.
You're doing all right hanging in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, getting some sleep? All right, good.
Nice.
Good. Cool, man. All right, well, welcome. Well, hey, everybody in the chat. How are you guys doing? Dansky, what's going on, guys? Already, we have lobbying for new features. That's what we're going to design next time, Tim. Tune in next week. I'm going to do a little more of that. But here we are. We're going to be designing. We're going to be talking about design process. We're going to be talking about XD, talking about Dan's work. We're going to talk live streaming. Whatever you guys want to talk, let us know, and we'll talk about it. So yeah. All right, man. So tell me about a little bit about yourself.
I've been a designer for about 11 years.
Yeah.
I've kind of gone from graphic design to logos to web. Found out I was a bit of a tech geek.
Yeah.
So just kind of got into the UI UX space about 6 years ago. Fell in love with it, and been working as a self-employed UX designer, UI UX designer for about the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome. And I've just kind of, as I've started YouTube, I've made that transition from project work to education. So 3 years ago, I just started a YouTube channel. Just for fun.
Yeah.
And it kind of grew. Yeah. Yeah, I just got this awesome following, so much support from people, and I thought, oh, yeah, okay, this is going well, I'll just keep doing this.
Yeah.
And people seem to like it.
Wait, seeing somebody else, I remember going back to when I was first in school and really getting into design, being able to sort of connect with someone who's out there doing it for real.
Yeah.
Just people just want that authenticity. They just want to see someone actually making it.
Yeah.
Because it always felt like there was this secret formula. You're like, how do they do it? And now where you can connect to people live through things like our stream here or on YouTube, people just can, or Twitter even, right? Just make that connection with people and gain some confidence, right? Oh, I could do that. I think I could do that. Learn a little bit, about what path you might follow.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's kind of like trying to sort of tailor and pace the content. So people who are, they've been in the industry for a long time, they can follow along with something. But then people who have never used XD before or Illustrator, they can pick it up and follow along as well. So it's almost like an impossible challenge to kind of tailor it for everyone.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. It's good, but as long as you're staying true to your process, I think people connect to that. People always find you, right? If you're coming at it with that real sincere, hey, this is just my story. This is how I'm doing it.
Yeah, so I'm just a guy with a camera.
Yeah, because we're all just making it up anyways, So Look, Jack did not expect to see Dansky here. Look, here he is in the flesh right here. I only knew you over YouTube. You're like this little avatar floating in my feed. Nice to connect in person a little bit.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Excellent. So if you guys have any questions for Dansky, for me, about Adobe, about XD, about design, let us know in the chat. Here we are live on Behance. That's really cool. That's a brand new thing. Look at that. Connecting the dots. Synergy. Hey Munir, how are you? Thanks for staying up for us. If you're somewhere where it's really late, we're just getting our day going here in Vegas. It's going to go on for many hours after this. So, all right. Oh, cool. It's funny. You talk about that transition to UX. I didn't really start design as a UX designer either. And you said you kind of had that affinity. What is it about UX design and those types of problems that really gets you excited?
I think the thing that helps me be good at what I do is because I'm passionate about it. Yeah. Really passionate. And when you use an app or a website and you're and you get really frustrated and it doesn't work, and it's I just think maybe if they did it that way, it might work better. And I just have that kind of, it drives my partner absolutely mad. I can't even sit in a restaurant. I'm looking at the menu and I'm like, spacing's off. Spacing's off, all caps. No.
This is really terrible user experience.
Yeah, for a menu. I think it's just naturally part of me. I'm just going to play to that. And I love tech. I've always loved computers, ever since I was literally like 8 years old when we got our first one. Windows 95 or whatever it was.
Yeah. The classic logo and the sounds. Oh man, it's like this whole nostalgia trip going on here.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I mean, there's something about like just like putting yourself in that, always in that sort of frame of like the user's position. They're sort of right, standing in their shoes, as it were. But yeah,
just having empathy for them when they're kind of experience. Yeah, I think it's kind of like trying to strike a balance between, yes, I'm a designer, I want to make it look good, but also you've got to think about the person who's using it. It doesn't matter if it looks good if it doesn't work properly.
Yeah, totally.
They're going to struggle with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's very different problems than maybe you're solving through. I mean, there's some similar overlaps with I did a lot of brand work, I was doing a lot of print work, but we're doing websites, right? Mm-hmm. We wanted to communicate via these new platforms and these new mediums. And I just kind of found myself, I sort of fell into I'm a UX designer. Whatever that is. Let's do that. Just
casually change your job title.
Yeah, exactly. Nathan, thanks for the congrats. We're super excited. Dan's going to be he's going to be using XD here. He's got some stuff that he's designed that we're going to be talking about, showing off maybe some of the new features. Very cool. Yeah. Oh, looks like Zahid from Bangladesh is saying hi. Dan.
Awesome. Hello.
Very good. All kinds. Gabby, Garish. Oh, you can't. So, Garish, go make sure you've downloaded the latest update. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, that's right. But you can't add to CC libraries yet. So that's coming very soon. I've seen a build with that working. So on its way, Garish, hang with us. Again, even though we've launched 1.0, XD is far from done. We're still going to be rolling out monthly updates, continue to get feedback, and really just keep making it better. So I don't know, what do you think about XD, Dan?
I think there's some kind of beautiful irony in that, that it's XD and it's being kind of shaped by the creative community and getting their feedback, which is, I think, is how it is good to kind of work in the UX space, to get that feedback from people using your product. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's really cool.
I think there's something about this, where we're at, where we've sort of come with not just technology and the capability sets, but the different platforms and the different ways that we can all kind of communicate together. It's just so exciting to be a designer making these interactive experiences, because you can put something out and get it in the hands of users almost immediately. The minute you think about it, you can put it in someone's hand.
Yeah.
And there's so much power there, so much, and there's definitely responsibility along with that, right? To make sure that we're really honestly engaging with people. But that's been the most exciting part of this journey, I think, for me, at least on this product, because I've worked on different products at Adobe, but I always felt a little cut off, right?
Yeah.
The research was happening, we do some early in the process, then we design for a while, and finally get something that we can put in the hands of users. But XD is this whole new approach for Adobe development software, so it's been really great.
Yeah,
these live streams, so yeah.
You can just prototype something, or just ideas, quickly throw them together, and then get them out there and get feedback.
It's great. It's great. Yeah. So tell me about what you've been up to here. How have you been using XD? Let me get direct feedback, one-on-one right here. What have you been up to with XD?
I think kind of just working on some apps for me. So I have lots of ideas. I kind of just come up with ideas, spontaneously. Yeah. So I like to just take all that creative energy and just turn it into something. So what I've done for this stream is come up with a reimagination of the registration process. So when you attend Max, you go and you register at the booth. There's a laptop and you type in your details, and then you get your badge. And it's absolutely fine. It was super easy. But I just thought it'd be really cool to kind of reimagine that in my style, in a tablet. Kind of very cool, futury. Just really run clean, sort of like my style.
Yeah.
And link that together.
Not on those old Windows laptops. No, I didn't have any problem using that trackpad at all today. No. Yes. So no, I really like that. Taking. I do that a lot myself. I think taking that inspiration from the things around me. We were sort of mentioning before we started. Just can't turn it off. You're constantly thinking how could this be a little better?
Yeah.
And then being able to sort of sit down in XD and just be able to sort of work up a prototype.
Yeah.
You know, like that whole sort of design at the speed of thought thing was always something we were shooting for and aiming for. You know, like how quickly can you just get an idea down and actually start seeing it come to life? So
I mean, I love that line because I think to get the most out of XD, for me personally, like when you use shortcuts, you can create something so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's for rapid prototyping and wireframing, but you literally can design almost at the speed of thought just by using it. Just with the shortcut keys, you know, you can switch between design and prototype mode, again, with shortcut keys. Everything's just shortcut keys. So,
once you kind of learn it, a little more. I mean, I'm not paying him to say any of that. It's very nice to hear that as the designer. I was like, finally somebody's actually using it. That's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of ignored the chat there. We were kind of just talking. You guys have any questions? I'll look over here. This whole chat is happening right here. All right, so maybe if we can switch over to Dan's laptop, let's just kind of walk us through kind of how you set up things here in XD and kind of what you've been working on.
Okay, so if I switch, so I can preview this in Adobe XD. So this is the kind of reimagination, as I said, in a tablet format. So an attendee of Max would go to the booth, and this was done in mind with it being a bit more automated.
Yeah.
So you would kind of obviously, click the get started thing, and you can then enter your email, your passport number, and then it says, is this you?
Yeah.
And then you kind of have that choice. And this is where prototyping comes in handy because, you can design these screens and just super, super quickly link them all together. So we got, yes, that is me, thanks.
Do we have no? Yes.
We have no.
Oh.
Yeah. So please wave your arms frantically in the air to signal assistance from a member of the team.
That makes me, like one of the things that I remember when it was actually one of she joined our team very new, kind of early on in XD's development. And she was designing this, I can't remember what feature we were working on exactly, but she had done like what had been asked and been like done the task and had a design.
Yeah.
Then she was like, but I wondered what was behind this door, so I just kind of just kept going. And then she just sort of broke out and like did this whole other flow. Again, like she kind of, she did exactly what everybody was kind of looking for, but then because XD was just so simple, so easy to sort of like string together some screens, she's like, I wonder if we went this way, what would happen? What if the user went this way? So that last part kind of makes me think, like, is there a way that I could restart the process? Is there a way, like, you hit the no button and you get there, and are you stuck, or can you actually go back and figure out maybe like what I missed?
From a user experience point of view, I think the frantically waving your arms in the air, someone would come over and attend to you.
True.
But yes, the start over button would probably be
there. You go. Yeah.
Good as well.
Yeah. Nice. There you go. I think we have some good ideas for you to expand on your prototype if we want to go there. Let's see.
Fantastic to go into the registration room and just see people waving their arms.
There you go. Yes, that's the preferred experience. Just give the agreed upon signal, and we will get to you when we get to you. Nathan, thanks for that. It's great to see. All right, looked like Ibrahima from Senegal. Wow, that's always exciting when I see people from like all over the world like using XD. Like I sometimes gonna get stuck in the little bubble, like Bay Area, and seeing like people all over the world using XD is exciting.
There's Poppy as well. That's my my partner in crime.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah, how can we reach Jon Snow?
Yeah, I think that is his legit email address. He definitely works for Adobe, doesn't he?
I would just type, you know nothing. Not sign it. That's it. Dansky, you got Gabby, she's a big fan.
Hello.
Poppy, what's going on? Tuning in to watch your partner in crime here. We got some people from Rio. We got Bruno, NATO. See, Kaylee, it's always a good question. Kaylee on the stream, advice for a student starting in design. Dan, how did you kind of get going with design to begin with?
I've always been very creative, even when I was younger. And I went to school and it was fine, but I didn't really excel at anything until I went to college and I studied graphic design.
Yeah.
And just kind of realized I fell in love with it, and I just worked really hard and I did really well. And I just worked so hard that I then got my first job as a graphic designer. And then once you get your first job in the industry, you're working on stuff 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you learn tons and tons of experience from people with more experience than you, but you're also creating stuff. So when you then go on to another job, it just makes that process a lot easier. You just kind of you just build up. It's just getting your foot in the door, you know, that first time. But just like proactively go out and learn as much as you can. Like, do tutorials and just things to learn how to use all of the apps, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's exactly kind of what I would say, right? Which is like, you know, if you want to do something, like go find those people doing that, right? And that could be in a school setting, and that's always a good way to go. If you want to get started there, or go out and get it on the job. There's, you know, and kind of start, you know, as an intern, start as a, you know, really junior designer, and then it really is just about absorbing those lessons that are kind of, they're just at the, you know, you got to be paying attention really to sort of take them in. And then I think the other part you said though, I thought was really great, which is, you know, learning from your own process and building upon that kind of with every job, taking what you learned of your own process, your own creative process, and just building on it and refining that over time. So I think that's the only thing that really sets designers apart, is that, like, you know, once you've kind of been at it for a while, say as you and I have, I think we're just fast. We trust our process a little more, and we're just faster at making decisions, right? So how can you get the experience that can help you how to, you know, learn to make the right decisions while you're designing, and really, you know, build up a process, because that's the only thing that's going to keep you going, is like having a process, right? So.
I don't know what you think to this, but something that I did for a long time is I spent a lot of years focusing on just trying to be an awesome designer. And it wasn't until I left full-time employment and kind of went self-employed that I had a better appreciation for, like, oh, I need to learn how to business. I need to learn confidence, you know, and build those things, because it doesn't matter if you're the best designer in the world. You know, if you can't sell yourself to a client and they don't buy into kind of you as a person, then you know, you're going to struggle to get work. You know.
No, I totally agree with that. I think that we've seen, you know, I saw a lot of really talented designers, and I think if you don't also grow those skills to communicate well, to work well with others, I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that, like, I went from working with 4 people on Adobe XD when we built the first prototype, and now we're working with quite a bit more than that. I'd say 10, I won't say exactly 10 times, but, you know, definitely a lot more than that. And, you know, to be able to work effectively to produce a really complicated undertaking like XD that is on multiple platforms, on multiple devices, takes a lot of communication.
So how do you kind of keep all that, like, in sync across everyone?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. It's a work in progress. You guys tell us, how are we doing? And then I'll take credit where it's working well. No, it's always a challenge. So you said you work with Poppy?
Or no, Poppy's my partner.
Yeah, your partner. So is it just you two? So does she do design as, like, partner, business partner? Other partner? Other partner.
Life partner.
Life partner.
Life partner.
I was just wanting to clarify, because I know couples who also design together. So
she likes to think she's a designer.
oh boy! All right.
I'm 1,000 miles away.
Just when you get home, better make sure the door is still, the key still works.
The door's locked.
Yes. Oh boy.
She's gonna love that.
Oh yes, indeed. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Look, Beryat was just at UX Camp Berlin. That seemed like a great event. We had some designers there hanging out with Jay. That was really cool. Show us something. All right, show us something. Dan, show us something new. Have you been using the new features in XD? What's been your favorite new thing to be doing in XD lately?
Favorite new thing? That's an easy one to answer, because I absolutely love this. So I think in the keynote they did a really great demonstration of it when I think it was Koi talking about all of the, you know, you could have a really complicated app with like 30, 40 screens, and how you could change colors with the asset panel. Like genius.
So good.
Hours of life saved there.
So we have the assets panel. Excellent.
So if I've done this correctly, this is all set up to work in the same way.
So you got your global colors, you got your character styles, you've got your symbols. Oh, so the whole background, the whole gradient is a symbol too.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's not something I normally do, but I just found as I was creating this, it just made sense because it's going to be the same on every screen. So it's just, I've added a few of them here.
Gotcha.
But if I go and sort of change, you know, the type size, something different. It just updates across. No, so I think what I've done is I've kind of set them up as styles, but then I've kind of changed some of them to make sure that the design is perfect.
There you go.
It's all about the design.
Yes, indeed.
But it's cool because you can kind of, you can add these to the assets panel, and then you can just, you can break it and do something different if you want. You don't have to have everything in sync. But things like, the blue, so I can kind of go into this group, I can add this as a color, and then this was much more impressive when you had about 30, 40 artboards.
That was quite an impressive file, I must say.
It was, but you can you can just change the color, and it just saves you so much time.
It makes me so happy.
So
every time.
Yeah. So
it's like I could just watch people using repeat grid and doing that all day long. I'd be fine. I'm happy. So.
But it's like with the background as well. So this is it's kind of an Adobe stock image.
Yep.
And I just kind of wanted to take a bit of attention away from that, put some more focus on the actual, the UI itself.
Yep.
Added a gradient over it, and you can go in and sort of change these colors. Oh yeah, I love it.
Nice, very nice. Well, I can show. I have one of my own examples that I think everybody gets a little geeked out looking at. Let me pull it up here.
Oh wow!
Not that one, but where did I put it? Oh, I had a really great file all ready to go, and now I rearranged a bunch of things on my desktop, and it's gone.
This is the tidiest my desktop's ever been.
Yes, yes, you do that when you're. Oh no. Okay, I'll have to keep looking for that. But I do have that exact file that Koi was using, so let's open it up. This is a huge file. I'm always impressed.
Wow. See, look, it's just so snappy and responsive. You've got a massive file like that.
I know.
And it just handles it effortlessly.
It's crazy. All right, so, and I live with this assets panel up all the time. So if I add that color, let's go edit it.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Super impressive.
Yeah, this panel is my panel. I don't really use the layers panel a lot. I know there are those people out there who love the layers panel, but this is where it's at for me. Is I really like to set up systems, right? I think you see a lot of people out there, doing similar things. We have a huge challenge at Adobe working with so many different teams, and we're trying to take, and the file I was trying to find was a file that we use to actually do the whole UI styling.
Okay.
And so of course we hand those out to, there's a whole team dedicated to making the system work, and now sort of seeing those components inside of XD, connected to the assets panel, it's so easy to just reuse them and change them, just to iterate on them in real time. We've got lots more planned for that, so I'm very excited of some things I've seen in some builds, so definitely more to come there.
Is that secret stuff at the moment?
Things people are asking for, improvements of course, but yeah, definitely some things that we've got our eye on. Wouldn't it be cool if this button needs to be a different color, say on this screen than it is on this screen? Well, what if I wanted to keep that button, maybe the text style and the shape of it in sync, but I wanted to just change its color? Should I be able to do that? Make that kind of override. I mean, today you can we override content automatically. So if you type a different label, it won't sync across all those different instances, those different instances of a button. They'll stay unique to that one.
Okay.
But what if you could do that with color or size or maybe any other thing you might?
I guess that's the kind of feedback you get from the community.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys want to, you guys can go check out our user voice forums. It's uservoice.adobexd.com, I believe it is. And that's where we're always taking people's suggestions, and everybody's voting on them up or down. And we really use that to really guide our roadmap of features and things that people are most interested in. And of course, we're also paying attention to what everybody's sort of into and talking about and how the field is developing, because this is all just happening in real time, So we got to develop in real time. So that's what we do. So let's go check in with the chat here, see what's going on. Garish, you should send us a link to that website if you can. We'd love to see it. That's the other cool thing about XD, of course, is being able to sort of share anytime. We're working on, we got some ideas for responsive layouts, but not at the moment. Hey, Osman from Bangladesh, what's going on? Oh, we got some people answering Kaylee's questions here, so
cool.
That's awesome. You guys, if you have questions, the chat can answer them. We don't need it. What are we here for? Yeah, we're all right.
I think that's the cool thing. It's just like this, we're all here to just kind of help each other.
Yeah.
It's this kind of community online.
Love it. Let's see. Bilge, we'd love to know what you'd be interested in if there was an integration between Adobe XD and Adobe Muse. Let us know. Tim just posted our user voice, adobeXD.uservoice.com. Go let us know there what that kind of integration would be. What feature are you looking for, Dan, inside of XD? What's on your wish list? What's at the top?
I think the top of my wish list is the kind of layout grids. So I think I did a tutorial actually where I kind of used the repeat grid tool.
That's so funny. I do the same thing. I saw your video and I loved it, and I was like, that guy knows what's up. I actually have a file. Let's see, it was the master. This one. So my team, right, we're the Adobe XD design team, and this is like our kind of like master template file. And if I go to these layers here, yep, there it is.
Hey.
There's my repeat grid, layout grid, right there.
I find it so satisfying once you set it up and you just drag it across.
It's so nice, and just go in there and just be able to, play with the padding a little bit. Yeah.
I love that because it almost stops like bad design. Like, why would you ever need to move one column, like have it a bit narrower than the other, So it just kind of helps that attention to detail, which I think is super important.
Yeah. The only thing it doesn't do is snap, which is a challenge, right? But yeah. Actually, Dan, I've got great news for Dan. Layout grids are coming very, very soon. So that's exciting. So I can say, look at Dan, just making it happen for you in real time.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I love just having like you can set up desktop, tablet, mobile when working on a project. Yeah. And you can work on like, I don't know, the mobile one first, for example, and then you can just literally just drag the assets over to tablet, do your thing, and then you have the grid set up there, and then do the same for desktop. Yeah. And you just have it all next to each other in one file. Yeah. And you can just, kind of check different, like just try different things. Does it work on this, this, and this? It just makes that whole process so easy. Yeah. What's your normal process like when you're doing that kind of like multi-device, multi-screen project? Like, how do you kind of go about starting that? Like, if you're going to take this one and turn it into like a phone version, say, like, how would you go about like doing that? I think it depends on the specific project. I quite like to run a desktop and a mobile version side by side, just so I can kind of sort of work between both of them, which is great because I can kind of wireframe like a homepage on mobile and XD. I can then just grab that, chuck it over to the desktop, kind of find out what's working. I'm very digital. I'm a very digital person, so I don't do a lot of pencil and paper. Yeah, I'm straight into XD with shortcuts and all that, and my lovely Wacom tablet, my baby, and just start kind of experimenting with the layout, and then I can build on that. Yeah. So you can start. This is what I love is that you can start with a wireframe, switch over to prototype. You can start quickly linking screens together, and just get that product out there, get feedback. If you want to ask for feedback, you don't have to. Just steamroll ahead. I think it's good. I think it's good to get feedback earlier in the process than later. Yeah. Maybe actually, if you shared this one, you could generate a link on that one and kind of tweet it out and have people maybe giving some feedback there. Cool. If I load Twitter up on this one. Yeah. All right. So Dan's gonna go share this on his Twitter. So if you're following Dan at Forever Dansky on Twitter, you can be able to check out this prototype that he made for Adobe Max here. And the thing that we've been sort of chatting about. While he's doing that, if there are any questions in the chat, yeah. Okay. So Ruben, so we have some great stuff if you're designing for Android development,
inside of XD, you can actually, we have some export settings. So you can just go up to, let's say if I wanted to sort of export maybe this XD icon for Android, I can go up and do an export with it selected. And I can choose to either have the output to the PNGs or whatever JPEGs I need. I can just choose, say, Android, and it'll actually tell me here what it's going to export as. So the selected export will export it the LDPI, the MDPI, and the high DPI, and so give me all those file formats I need to deliver to my developer. So there's some great stuff in there for if you're developing for Android or for iOS or just the web, to be able to sort of quickly export assets for that. We also you can access the Google Material UI Kit here in XD as well. So if you're designing for that, you can go here now. Actually, on the material design site, they actually maintain and host a component sheet for Adobe XD. So I'm going to go download that, and we'll just pop it open.
Just like that.
There it is. All right, now we can go start designing our Android app with all the material design components. Pretty slick.
I think that's quite a good place to start as well.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you've kind of used XD for a long time or whether you're kind of new to it, you've got this kind of full UI kit, bits and pieces that you can pull and drag them straight into, the project that you're doing.
Yeah, really jumpstart that process, right? And I mean, part of at least in my process is to try any idea. It doesn't have to be perfect. Put it out there and start figuring out the core mechanics of it, right? And really start trying to solve that. Then just keep layering in that higher and higher fidelity until now I've sort of got something that's fully fleshed out. And so using UI kits just kind of gets you started that much further down the track, which is really nice. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite UI kits you use, or have you created any yourself?
I don't think there's any that I use specifically.
Yeah.
I always remember I think it's by a chap called Skylar Westby.
Yeah.
And it was around the time the Adobe Preview first launched, and he did like a whole Google Material icon kit.
Yeah.
And made it available for free. So what I would do is I would start kind of every sort of project having that UI kit next to my main artboard, and you could just literally just drag those icons on there. And I mean, you can draw them in XD as well.
Yeah.
But
it takes time.
It does take time.
Right? Yeah.
Unless you need something kind of bespoke, for a wireframe, it doesn't need to be, totally fleshed out and fully polished.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of just throw it all together.
I mean, if we wanted to start, say like a new kind of, Android app, just go back to your, and just choose an Android mobile. Let's just get rid of those guys. All right, and then we could just go and we could actually, or we could have just copied that whole thing, but we wanted to copy over the header.
Yeah.
We wanted to drag out some toggles here. Maybe we're making like a screen or settings sort of layout, right? Now this UI kit's all integrated with the asset panel, so whatever we need, just drag it out there. We design, we go to prototype, we hook it up. Bam, we're going. We've got an app ready to go.
I think a good starting point would be to just have like a template document and just drag all those kind of icons that you would use into it, and then every time you start a project, you can just load it up and you've got it there. Because with the symbols, when you change one, if you want to if you have like a menu icon, you've got 3 lines, and you think, I want to add another line in there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It just updates it across, again, like 30, 40 screens.
So good.
I remember the manual days of doing that. Back working in Photoshop, doing app design.
Speaking of inspirations for doing all the things that we do in XD, it was those kind of moments. We did this really crazy kind of research project early on in the development of XD, and we had designers draw the same set of icons across all the different applications. We recorded their screens while they were doing it, and we actually counted the number of clicks that it took them to design any of those icons. Or we looked at all the whole path, the way the mouse would travel across their screens, and we had them do it. These were designers who were familiar with Illustrator, and Photoshop, and Fireworks, Sketch, and all the rest. And so we just watched them and said how can we do that better? How can we do that in 2 steps rather than 5? Or we just looked at ways in which we're designing an app from the ground up. Just take advantage of that, and just do it better.
Yeah.
So that was a good early experiment. So,
okay, that's cool.
Nathan, sorry, love fireworks. Sorry, pour one out for fireworks, everyone. You're saying, Dan.
I never used it personally. I was always a Photoshop. In fact, I used Photoshop for a lot of UI stuff until about a year ago. I always feel really embarrassed saying that.
Photoshop's great.
It is great.
Yeah.
But like XD, it's tailored for what it's for. UI, UX, wireframing, prototyping, and so it was difficult making that jump. Because I was so familiar with Photoshop, and it's got all these lovely, hundreds of features. It's been developed over 10 years or whatever, or 15, 20, however long Photoshop's been going for.
25.
Is it 25? I was 5 when it started.
Yeah.
Wow. But to kind of make that jump to XD was just. It was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So how was, you pick it up really quick? Or did you find a lot of similarities between or was it just streamlined from what you remember from Photoshop?
Because I'd used Illustrator, I used Illustrator quite a lot as well anyway, and I think that XD's got quite a lot of similarities. You know, the way you can combine shapes?
Yeah.
You know, those features, pen tool, line tool, shape tool. So it was all very, very familiar. The property inspector on the right was new, but it was just like any kind of styling, it's over here. So it was really easy to kind of pick up.
Yeah. Did you, one of the inspirations for that was the appearance panel inside of Illustrator. Because it really, something not a lot of people use, it really was this kind of like one-stop shop for like all the properties, and you could do some really powerful things in Illustrator. But you had to know the panel was there to be able to use it. And so, there's a big challenge. And like I said, like those apps have grown and they have so many features that built up over time that for someone new coming in, you're kind of left to your own devices a little bit. And I think that what's been cool to see is sort of us to take the best of our apps, distill it into a new platform, really, and then see the changes going back. Illustrator just did a great update to their properties panel, and it's something very much inspired by and taken from some of the things that we've learned inside of XD. So the chat's moving pretty quick. There was a question about the hardest thing about designing XD. The hardest thing has really been about making sure that we just are doing the right things for designers. I think that and keeping all the pieces, like now that we have a lot of features, the biggest challenge for us is how do we not end up with just another panel or another thing layered on top of it. How do we keep it feeling like a very integrated workflow end to end? That's probably our biggest challenge. Miles, we do not have timed animations, but it's definitely something we're looking into over the next month, and actually all this year. And if you go visit our user voice, you can actually vote up those features. But definitely something. I don't know. Do you do a lot of animation in your UI work yet, or you?
Those kind of micro interactions.
Yeah.
I would love that, but it's like I don't know if that's a pretty big undertaking, isn't it?
Add some complexity for sure.
Yeah, like is that like a separate thing, or is that kind of part of XD, or?
It's a good question. Something we're asking ourselves the same question. I don't know. You guys definitely tell us.
I mean, one question that I get quite a lot is, what is that? Like a lot of people use Illustrator, they use Photoshop, they might use like an old version of Fireworks or whatever, and it's like, what's Adobe XD? Like, where does it fit in? And it's trying to kind of help people understand, like, the value of prototyping and wireframing. If that isn't part of their process already, and they might kind of go straight to build or just design straight away without. It's like, actually, this is like what comes before that. This is like laying the groundwork for the design's like the icing on the cake. The cake's got to taste great. That's my metaphor.
I like it. I like that. Yes, indeed, it does.
It's an original.
I've seen a lot of those very elaborate fondant cakes, and you taste them, and why make a cake if you can't eat it? Yes, Tim. It definitely is something people are really excited about, micro interactions in XD, and it's interesting there. I think that. We mentioned it earlier, like everybody's just kind of in this together. We're all kind of figuring it out as we go along, and it's been fascinating to watch, even in my own process, going from, first off, just needing to move beyond static screens. That really felt like the first big leap, where it's like, I am constrained by just having and showing static screens one after the other. There was no story, there was no connection to it, right? People they just wanted to jump in and have it feel real. Yeah. So we really needed the ability to sort of build those, that interactivity, and start telling that connected story to a user or to our clients or to the executive team at Adobe. So that was like the first big change, where it's like, all right, we're no longer satisfied with static designs, right? Yeah. And I think there's this shift going on now where we've all lived with these devices for a number of years now. And of course, being designers, we're very attuned to the details and to the subtleties, right? And I think that we're moving beyond like even just screen to screen, And I think that you see designers more and more including animations and micro interactions and stateful design into their apps, and you're seeing it in the major operating systems. That's where I think people are experiencing it the most. Inside of Material, inside the latest Fluent stuff from Microsoft, and designers they want to do that. Yeah. And so I think the big challenge is designers like where in our process does that come in? Like when do you feel like your design's solid enough that you'd start adding those meaningful animations or stateful sort of transitions to your design? Where would that come in?
Yeah, whether it be kind of,
like later in the process. I
think probably later. Because earlier on, it's really about just kind of getting that core concept right and getting it done like really quickly.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying with static screens, people, clients, users, whoever, they perceive it differently. Yeah. Whereas when they're holding it in their hand, like you've got the mobile app for XD, you can hold it in your hand and you can actually go through it. Yeah. And it's what's the quote? It's like fake it till you make it. So you get as close to a real product as you can. Yeah. And then you get better feedback from that. Tailored towards that experience that you've created. Yeah. Which ultimately creates a better product.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's thinking about like those things, like where is those type of tools needed in your process? Like when are you ready for that? Really is kind of that gives you like a hint about where we're thinking about within the broader context of XD. It's like what like we really thought about. Okay, for building interactivity, you've got to have some kind of design first, right? So you have to have some kind of layout, right? Couple screens at least, some skeleton to really start holding, all this musculature and all these connections you're sort of making between these screens. And so we really thought like that's where you have to start. It doesn't matter, like you can't just come in and just start prototyping. You really have to have some amount of design down. And then you start building those relationships. And then once you have those relationships, that's where I think more meaningful animations and interactions can start coming into play.
What about if you could go from XD into something like After Effects, and then I don't know, there was some kind of way that you could take, I don't know, like that's the thing with the Adobe apps, they all play nice together. So maybe you could design something like a graphic in Illustrator. Yeah. It could go into XD and then go into After Effects. You could make it like move, even if it's like a little movement, and then it goes into XD, something like that maybe. Yeah. And then you update the Illustrator file, and it just kind of follows through and updates everything.
I like where your head's at. Yeah. I think there's some pretty interesting ideas there. And talking about the connection between, and I think it was mentioned in the chat earlier. One of the things that Coy talked about was basically having your Creative Cloud libraries now accessible inside of XD. So I just thought I'd pop that up. Hopefully it works. Of course, being at a convention, your connection. Fail connection. Fail. Okay. But yes, you do have. I don't know. Do you use libraries at all?
I don't use them at the moment. And after watching the keynote this morning, I feel like a fool. I feel like I'm really kind of missing out on something that's just going to help kind of speed up that process. Just having everything in one place. With Adobe Stock, that kind of plugs into the just looking at Adobe Stock this morning. Yeah. I've got an account with iStock. When I get back, I'm going to cancel that, sign up to Adobe Stock, because it's just got so many awesome images, and it just plugs again straight into libraries. So Photoshop, Illustrator, soon to XD. You're going to have that. It's just this big connected ecosystem of like creative products, and like the guys were saying this morning, it's kind of just. These are the tools to kind of empower us to just create awesome stuff. Yeah. And just making it as streamlined as possible. Yeah.
think I thought I was going to do it. I thought I was building up to something. I was like, all right, I got this. Nope, not quite yet. But basically, what I really loved about the Creative Cloud libraries workflow is my connection to Photoshop, right? Because even though I'm doing all my UI work now inside of XD, I still am using assets that I want to be able to manipulate, and I want to be able to, like swap out kind of whenever, kind of on demand. And so what I've done is I've created for my team actually this master library of like avatars and images to use. So like, oh, this is your sample project or your sample user or whatever it is you're doing. And then once you sort of have them in there, now you can drag them out into the canvas. And you can just, if you need to edit it, you just right click, you hit edit, you go into Photoshop, you maybe change something about the image, you hit save, you come right back into XD and those have all been updated, right? And it's all referencing like the same image, so even if you've copied and pasted or dragged it into different repeat grids or different sort of shapes everywhere and masked it, they're all connected. You just change it in Photoshop once and it updates everywhere, and I wish I was just going to show that off.
That must be so useful though, working with, like you said, a growing team.
Yeah.
To have all of that in this kind of library.
One place. And it's been, I think that along with the assets panel has really changed how there it goes again. All right. We'll have to make sure we fix that.
It says no.
I know. No connections. Yeah, just, again, just really helping designers not have to worry about managing all of that. As you mentioned earlier, like, doing this before, like doing something like, like that I would now do with like the repeat grid or now do with the assets panel, like manually going through and updating all those things is just, who wants to spend time doing that?
Could you make the logo just, 2 pixels bigger? Yeah. And just manually go through every screen and change it before? Yeah. They're definitely not the good old days. They're long behind us now, that's fine.
Yeah, seriously.
Symbols.
Let's see, you guys have any questions? Sorry, Dan and I just been chatting here, and of course ignoring the stream completely. I am not my
It's quite difficult though, isn't it? When you're streaming to, I find this when I stream, it's just keep an eye on everything.
Tell me about your streaming. So you started just kind of started the YouTube the one day. What kind of stuff are you doing now? Like is it all focused on teaching? Or are you sharing your own projects? Like what is the stream doing for you?
Kind of made this big shift going from project work to more YouTube, and I'm just trying to get down a regular schedule. Yeah. So I love teaching. I want to make a living doing that. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to be consistent, with a kind of Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule of getting content out. And a lot of people seem to love the streams. Yeah. I just started doing it, I think, towards the end of 2016. Yeah. So last year, and got really good feedback. And then people are like, when are you doing the next stream? It's like, oh, okay, you like this.
You like this.
And I love doing it. I really love doing it. I love to teach.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the inspiration. I think, if you're passionate about something, that's just going to be really helpful in creating content for it. Mm-hmm. I've not done one for a little while actually now, but being here, I feel really inspired to just go and do like another stream or something. Because it's a chance to like just talk with the people and answer questions, and the questions you get are so varied as well. Like how do you price design? How do you find new clients? Mm-hmm. Like what Kaylee said, how would you what advice would you give to people kind of new to the industry? Yeah. And it's just a great place to be able to kind of answer those questions. Yeah. I'm just going to move the coffee out of the way.
I like streaming, I think, and I've been kind of engaging here with, and joining Michael for a little over a year now. And it just kind of connects with like all the principles and all the qualities that we really like about developing XD. Is like just being open, connecting with users directly, with designers directly, really hearing about what like they need, and like being like responsive, like doing it in real time. Next week, if everybody tunes in, I'm going to be designing like a feature for XD, like live, like over like 3 days. Ooh. Like we're going to imagine some new feature, maybe take something off the user voice. Like a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, we did annotations. We designed annotations, like how they would work in XD. So I can leave a comment for my designer that I'm working with. I can leave it for my developer. And we just like prototyped that in real time, and then we just sent the prototype out, and we got all these comments and all this feedback, like while we were streaming. We were just like actively developing these ideas and testing them and validating them in real time. What other app can you do that in? It's crazy. So it's really exciting. So Briat was asking, what are some cool features? The XD, you know, I think the biggest thing for me is just like the connected workflow. Like particularly like I think the sharing. I don't know, what's kind of your favorite? We talked about the assets panel. You got any other hidden? You mentioned the pathfinding tool. Do you have any other hidden feature you love in XD? Or something people might not know.
Pathfinder tools are awesome.
Yeah.
But I use Illustrator for a lot of my icons.
Yeah.
That's like, that's my thing, just because I've done it for so long.
Yeah.
Blurry backgrounds, like with the background blur. I absolutely love it.
There you go.
So the way you can...
you gotta have a little style, you gotta like that.
Yeah, so let's see if I can kind of jump back into this and kind of demo it a bit better. So you just kind of create a shape, and you can switch on the background blur, and just move it around.
No.
So it's simple, but I just absolutely love it because you can just...
the engineer who worked on that is gonna just like love you. Like, because that was like one of the coolest things. I mean, we saw that, like, and the fact that it was like happening again in real time. There was no like lag in the render of that. I mean, just look at that. It's just like so smooth.
I mean, I used to I used to do this in Photoshop, and with a mask.
So you talk about like trying to do something in one step that you would take you quite a long time. I remember trying to do that in Photoshop as well. I just kind of threw up my hands. I was like, Gaussian blur.
I mean, it's fine, but it's like if you want to move it around, or if I wanted to kind of go with like a band or something, I could just really move that blur around. Yeah,
great. Well, cool. Well, I finally found that file I was talking about. I wanted to show you guys. This is actually one of our style guides for our own internal design system. And here, if I really wanted to mess with these guys, I could go and change from our Adobe Clean branded to maybe something a little more stylish, a little more future inspired in Brandon Grotesque, which is always fun. I always like to do that. We're kind of running down here to the end of our stream. If you guys have any more questions, this has been super fun, Dan.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Chat with you here at Adobe Max. It's been really exciting. Gonna go take in some more sessions. What do you think? What are you gonna go do?
Oh, I think there's something at the Create booth.
I gotta go check that out.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's so nice to be here, honestly. Thank you so much for inviting me. As I said earlier, normally I'm at home in my pajamas with my cup of tea, watching Adobe Live. So to actually be here at Max, it's just like a dream.
It's great to have you.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the. As I said, if you have any feedback, you know someone that you can actually hit up directly. We'll make it happen. We're gonna make layout grids happen just for Dan.
Yes, just for me.
And you guys, if you have any questions for us, you can hit up Mr. Talin on Twitter, Forever Dansky as well. Check out his YouTube's channel, his live stream. Definitely post that up so everyone can go and find that. I'm going to be tuning in. Can't wait for the next content update. And then, tune in and join Michael Chase and I next week. We're going to design some new features for XD. So
looking forward to it.
All right. Excellent, guys. I think we're just going to wrap up here. I wish I had some special secret thing to share, but we shared it all today. They said all the good things earlier, so
I'm looking forward to tomorrow's keynote.
Because the sneaks.
I was blown away by the keynote today. Yeah. 12,000 people in a room, huge screen, and just the features like dimension and everything. It's just.
Sensei is still kind of blowing my mind a little bit there at the end.
Oh, yeah, like the bit at the end where he changed the direction that the subject was looking.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Photographers are going to
on the way, so. Good. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. More here from the Adobe Live booth at Adobe Max 2017. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.